The studio lights of the Kelly Clarkson Show gleam brightly, casting a warm glow over the vibrant set as the audience buzzes with anticipation. Tim McGraw, the country music icon known for his soulful hits and rugged charm, strides confidently onto the stage, greeted by Kelly Clarkson's infectious smile and the crowd's enthusiastic applause. The interview begins with light-hearted banter, with Kelly praising Tim's latest album, Here on Earth, which has resonated deeply with fans for its raw emotion and storytelling. They laugh over shared experiences in the music industry, swapping stories about late-night recording sessions and the chaos of touring life. Kelly, ever the relatable host, asks Tim about his journey from a small-town Louisiana kid to a global superstar, and he responds with his signature humility, crediting his family and faith for keeping him grounded. The conversation flows smoothly, touching on his collaborations with his wife, Faith Hill, and their enduring partnership both on and off the stage. The audience is captivated, hanging on to every word, as the chemistry between the two stars feels effortless. However, a subtle shift occurs when Kelly, known for her candid style, pivots to a more personal topic at Tim's past struggles with alcohol and how they shaped his career. Her question, though well-intentioned, strikes a nerve, and Tim's smile falters slightly. He offers a brief, guarded response, acknowledging the challenges but steering the conversation back to his music. Kelly, sensing the tension, presses gently, asking how those struggles influenced his latest album's themes. The audience senses a change in the air, a faint crackle of discomfort, as Tim shifts in his seat, his jaw tightening. He deflects again, emphasizing his focus on positivity and growth, but Kelly, perhaps unaware of the depth of his unease, doubles down, referencing a specific incident from years ago that Tim has rarely discussed publicly. The crowd grows quieter, the energy in the room shifting from warm to uneasy. As Tim's demeanor changes, his responses become shorter, his tone clipped, and the once easy rapport between him and Kelly begins to fray. The question hangs heavily, and Tim's eyes flicker with a mix of frustration and vulnerability, hinting at a storm brewing beneath his polished exterior. The segment teeters on the edge of something unexpected, as the audience waits to see how this moment will unfold, unaware that it's the spark that will ignite a viral moment. As the interview progresses, the tension between Tim McGraw and Kelly Clarkson becomes palpable, like a taut string ready to snap. Kelly, perhaps caught up in the moment and her desire to connect authentically with her guest, continues to probe into Tim's personal journey, unaware that she's treading into territory he's worked hard to move past. She asks about the pressures of fame and how Tim coped during his darkest moments, framing it as a way to inspire viewers who might be struggling. Her tone is empathetic, but the question feels like a spotlight on a wound Tim has carefully guarded. He shifts uncomfortably, his hands gripping the armrests of his chair, and responds with a measured tone, emphasizing that he's in a better place now and prefers to focus on the present. The audience, sensing his discomfort, grows restless, their murmurs barely audible over the studio's ambient hum. Kelly, perhaps misreading the mood, tries to lighten the moment with a joke about how they both handle her with ice cream. Tim with songwriting about it lands flat. Tim's expression hardens, and he interjects, his voice low but firm, that some things are better left private. The crowd gasps softly, caught off guard by the shift from his usual affable demeanor. Kelly, visibly surprised, tries to pivot back to music, asking about his creative process, but Tim's patience seems to be wearing thin. He leans forward, his eyes locking with hers, and says, "Kelly, I'm here to talk about my work, not my past." The statement is polite but pointed, and the studio falls into a stunned silence. Kelly, ever the professional, nods and apologizes, but the damage is done. The air feels thick with unspoken tension, and Tim's body languidly rigid shoulders, clenched fists suggests he's wrestling with whether to stay or walk away. The audience, now fully aware of the brewing conflict, leans forward, their phones discreetly recording what they sense could become a headline. Kelly tries to steer the conversation to safer ground, asking about Tim's upcoming tour, but his responses are curt, his mind clearly elsewhere. The once warm connection between the two stars has fractured, and the segment feels like it's spiraling toward an inevitable breaking point. The producers, watching from the sidelines, exchange nervous glances, sensing that this interview is about to take a turn no one anticipated. The pivotal moment arrives with a suddenness that shocks everyone in the studio. Kelly, perhaps hoping to salvage the interview, asks Tim about a rumored falling out with a fellow artist from years ago, a topic that's been whispered about in country music circles but never confirmed. She frames it as a chance for Tim to set the record straight, her voice gentle but curious. The question, however, lands like a grenade. Tim's face darkens, and for a moment, he says nothing, the silence deafening in the brightly lit studio. Then, in a low, controlled voice, he responds, "I don't know where you're getting this, Kelly, but I'm not here to dig up old dirt." The audience gasps audibly, the weight of his words hanging in the air. Kelly, caught off guard, stammers an apology, explaining she didn't mean to offend, but Tim is already on his feet. In a move that stuns the crowd, he removes his microphone, his movements deliberate but charged with frustration, and says, "I'm done here." Without another word, he strides off the stage, his boots echoing in the silent studio as the audience watches in disbelief. Kelly, visibly shaken, tries to maintain her composure, addressing the crowd with a forced smile and saying, "Well, that was unexpected. Let's take a quick break." The cameras cut to commercial, but the audience is already buzzing, their phones lighting up with texts and social media posts about what they've just witnessed. Backstage, producers scramble to figure out what happened, while Tim, now out of sight, is reportedly pacing, his frustration evident. The moment, raw and unscripted, feels like a lightning bolt in the world of daytime TV, where such displays are rare. Fans in the audience begin speculating about what triggered Tim's reaction. Was it the personal questions, the mention of the old rumor, or something deeper? The incident, captured by dozens of smartphones, is already spreading online, with clips and screenshots flooding platforms like TikTok and X, each post amplifying the drama and fueling debates about who was in the wrong. The clash, though brief, has all the makings of a viral sensation, with fans and critics alike dissecting every word and gesture. As the commercial break ends, Kelly Clarkson returns to the stage, her professionalism intact but her unease evident in her slightly strained smile. She addresses the audience directly, acknowledging the awkward moment without naming Tim, saying, "Sometimes conversations get real, and that's okay. We're all human." The crowd responds with supportive applause, but the energy in the room remains charged, as if everyone is still processing what happened. Kelly pivots to a lighter segment, introducing a musical performance by a local band, but the audience's attention is clearly elsewhere, their whispers and glances betraying their fascination with the earlier drama. Online, the story is already exploding, with hashtags like #TimMcGrawClash and #KellyClarksonShow trending within minutes. Clips of Tim's walk-off, paired with dramatic music and captions like "Country Star Storms OFF Set," dominate social media, while fans take sides. Some defend him, arguing that Kelly crossed a line by delving into personal matters he's clearly uncomfortable discussing. Others praise Kelly's authenticity, insisting she was just trying to have a meaningful conversation. Bloggers and entertainment outlets begin churning out articles, some speculating that Tim's reaction was tied to a deeper, untold story from his past, while others suggest he was simply caught off guard by Kelly's directness. Behind the scenes, reports emerge that Tim and Kelly had a brief, private conversation after the incident, with Tim reportedly apologizing for his abrupt exit but standing firm on his boundaries. Kelly, known for her empathy, is said to have been understanding, though shaken by the public fallout. The incident sparks broader discussions about the pressures celebrities face on talk shows, where they're expected to be open and vulnerable while maintaining a polished image. Fans of both stars weigh in, with some calling for Tim to return to the show to clear the air, while others argue he was justified in walking away. The viral nature of the moment ensures it won't fade quickly, as every new post and video adds fuel to the fire, turning a single interview into a cultural talking point. In the days following the incident, the story of Tim McGraw's walk-off from the Kelly Clarkson Show takes on a life of its own. Entertainment news outlets dissect the moment frame by frame, analyzing Tim's body language and Kelly's questions for clues about what went wrong. Some reports, citing anonymous sources, claimed the clash was less about the specific questions and more about Tim's broader frustration with the media's tendency to sensationalize his personal life. Others point to Kelly's interviewing style, which, while beloved for its authenticity, can sometimes catch guests off guard with its directness. Social media platforms like X become battlegrounds for fans, with some praising Tim for standing up for himself and others criticizing him for overreacting. A TikTok video from a user claiming to have been in the audience goes viral, offering a grainy but dramatic view of Tim's exit, complete with a caption calling it the most shocking moment in talk show history. Meanwhile, Kelly addresses the incident on her show the following day, keeping things light but sincere, saying, "We had a real moment yesterday, and I respect Tim so much. Sometimes we hit a nerve, and that's okay. It's how we grow." Her words are met with applause, but the online debate rages on. Tim, for his part, remains silent on social media, though a statement from his team emphasizes his gratitude for his fans and his focus on his upcoming tour. The lack of a direct response from Tim only fuels speculation, with some outlets suggesting he's planning a tell-all interview to share his side. The incident also sparks a broader conversation about the boundaries between public and private life for celebrities, with commentators questioning whether talk shows push too hard for emotional revelations. Fans of both Tim and Kelly express hope for a reconciliation, noting their shared history as collaborators and friends in the music industry. The drama, while intense, highlights the humanity of both stars, reminding viewers that even icons have their limits. As the story continues to dominate headlines, it's clear that this moment will be remembered as a defining one in both Tim's and Kelly's careers. Weeks later, the dust begins to settle, but the impact of Tim McGraw's walk-off from the Kelly Clarkson Show lingers in the public consciousness. Both stars move forward with their careers, with Tim embarking on a sold-out tour and Kelly continuing to charm audiences with her show's blend of humor and heart. A joint statement from their teams, released quietly on X, acknowledges the incident as a moment of miscommunication and emphasizes their mutual respect, effectively putting an end to the wilder rumors. Fans, however, remain divided, with some still dissecting the viral clips and others calling for a reunion episode to heal the rift. The incident becomes a case study in media training programs, with experts citing it as an example of how quickly a live interview can derail when boundaries are crossed. Entertainment outlets published think pieces exploring the pressures of fame, the role of talk shows in shaping public perception, and the fine line between authenticity and overstepping. Some fans unearthed older interviews where Tim and Kelly shared warm moments, like their duet at a charity event years ago, and express hope that their friendship can recover. Kelly, in a later episode, subtly references the incident during a segment about forgiveness, sharing a heartfelt story about learning from tough moments without naming Tim directly. Tim, meanwhile, channels his energy into his music, releasing a new single that critics praise for its raw, introspective lyrics, with some speculating it was inspired by the recent trauma. The incident, while initially a shock, ultimately humanizes both stars, showing their imperfections and resilience. It also underscores the power of live television, where unscripted moments can spark global conversations. As the story fades from the headlines, it leaves behind a legacy of lessons about empathy, boundaries, and the unpredictable nature of human connection, reminding fans that even their idols are navigating the complexities of life in the spotlight. The viral moment, though fleeting, ensures that Tim McGraw and Kelly Clarkson's names will be linked in pop culture history, a testament to the raw, unfiltered power of their encounter.